Hey everybody, I'm Rick Beato. Today's Everything Music, we're going to be talking about Radiohead and why they're so cool. So I've been a fan of Radiohead's for Pablo Honey came out in 1991, so what is that, 26 years or so? I was not actually a big fan of Creep, their first single, but the record has some great tunes on it. But what really got me was the second record when I heard The Bends. And I remember hearing, High and Dry was out as a single, but I got the record and I heard the tune Just. And I remember thinking that, wow, those are some really cool chord changes in the tune. I don't know if you guys remember that song. It's like, it starts out like this. Then has a cool line here. That's tough to play. Then it goes to the verse like this. It's a separate part, but that's the part. Then. Then it goes back into the line after. Now what is that? That's a diminished scale. It's a whole step, half step diminished scale that happens to work perfectly over da 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 da. Now there's a lot of other incredibly great songs on that record. Fake Plastic Trees, High and Dry, those were massively big singles. And then I remember, I listened to that record all the time, and they became a really huge band with the Bends. But then, OK Computer came out. And that really sealed the deal for people that to realize that Radiohead was one of the greatest bands of all time. I remember I was playing in a band at the time, back in, I think it was 97 or so, and we had band practice right down the street from a club here in Atlanta called the Masquerade. And they were on their first tour of OK Computer, and they came around, and I had tickets to it. I went to see it. And it was a small club, probably 800 people or so. And I remember they had brought in their own mixing console, and it sounded phenomenal. And they played all these songs. The record had just come out. And I mean, I was familiar with the record, but hearing it live, it was amazing. This is really an amazing show. Any of you that were around Atlanta then would know that. I remember the first tune I heard off the record was Let Down. I heard it on the radio. It was before the record was released, and they played it on the alternative station here. I remember being struck by how beautiful the opening chord pattern was and the fact that it was in 5. It went something like this. And that's just a beautiful sound there. And I was thinking, who plays parts like that? So after I heard Let Down, immediately went out and bought the record and put on OK Computer, and the very first song that came up is a tune called Airbag. And it starts with this incredibly cool riff that sounds kind of like a cello, but it's actually a distorted guitar. It goes like this. So after it goes through that incredibly cool riff, the verse part is equally cool. So it's like, then it goes, So the cool things about this, you got da da da, because it's just A major, A Lydian, then D over A to A major, then it goes da, then it's like A Lydian again, da, F sharp minor, da da da. Now goes E7, da 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 da. Then it goes back to the intro part. So incredibly cool, super sophisticated tune. All the tunes on OK Computer, all the tunes on the Bends are amazingly great tunes. So after OK Computer, we had the Bends, we had OK Computer. Everybody was massive Radiohead fans. Then I remember 2001, I believe it was. I was in Austin, Texas, South by Southwest. And I just randomly got invited to this party. It was a listening party for Kid A. And there was probably about 100 people there. And the record label they were on at the time, I believe it was Capitol, played the record in its entirety. And people sat and listened to it. And I remember the first song was this. What's great about this, F, C, then D flat Lydian, E flat 6/9, but he plays, that's where it's over that E flat chord, and then F major, C major, D flat Lydian, super powerful. So I'm playing a C major triad there. When it goes to the chorus, it goes to F major, C major, D flat Lydian, E flat 6. It's amazing, super powerful. And this part, so C, A flat, G, C. Then the chorus, up to F major. Now we fast forward to last year with the record of Moon-Shaped Pearl and the tune Daydreaming, which is a really beautiful tune. And it starts with this 3/2 pattern. The left hand is almost like a clock, and so it's. Then it goes to A sus4. Then it goes down to F 6/9. Sus2 over E and B, then D Aeolian, B flat sus2, G sus4, G7. So these chords here, so we've got F and C and then D, E, A, so, and A sus4. So A, E, D, E, A. So it's the same chord shape, just over F, then over A. Then you move down, the whole shape moves down. This D sus2 moves down to a C sus2. So it's F 6/9. Then stays the same, it moves down to E and B. So you get E, B with the C sus2. Then it moves down to B flat sus2 over D and A. So B flat C F. So it's like this. call it G add 4 with G major add 4. So you got this. So all you need to remember here is D sus2 for the first two chords with a F and C in the bass, A and E in the bass, then it moves down a whole step to C sus2 over F, then same chord over E and B, then B flat sus2 over D and A, and then G, you got B, C, G in this chord, and then puts the 7th in there. Then it goes to the second section. Let's start the first pattern. The first pattern is this. Okay, A, C sharp, D, F sharp, E, C sharp, and then the second pattern is. So the second pattern goes right down D major 7. It comes up with the 9th there. The second pattern then, second chord goes. Makes it easy, it's all white keys. A, C, D, F, E, C, and then it comes down like a D minor 7th in inversion in the second half. So it's like this. So remember, it goes top note down to the bottom note at the beginning of the patterns of all the chords in the first patterns. And then the second part comes down in arpeggio. And then we go to this chord shape here. It's like a B minor 7 with the 11th. Then we go. Remember, go down top note, bottom. And then the last pattern is this B flat major 7 sharp 11. And it goes. Remember, high note to low note. A, B flat, D, F, E, B flat, and then right down B flat major 7. So here's the two parts of that one. And then it starts back in the beginning. Okay, let me try and play it up tempo. That's all for now. Please subscribe here to my Everything Music YouTube channel. And if you're interested in the Beato book, you can go to rickbeato.com and find it there. Thanks for watching.